What's up, Mecha fans, and welcome back to the channel. So today we've got another haul video, but this time slightly different. We're not talking about Gunpla, we're actually going to be talking about some manga that I picked up recently, and those are all mecha related. Some of them are Gundam, some of them are Evangelion. But before we dive into it, please do leave a like on this video and subscribe if you are a fan of mecha anime content and want to see plenty more videos like this in the future. Also, head on down to the comments section below. Let me know what you've picked up recently in regards to mecha related stuff, and do you own any mecha related manga, whether they are Gundam, Evangelion, or anything else that exists out there, because I want to get into collecting some more mecha related manga, and I know there's not a whole lot out there, so any recommendations, I would love to know about them. Alright, so without further ado, let us dive into these, and I'm going to kickstart things off with the Evangelion manga that I've got. I've already got the first volume of the Evangelion manga adaptation, which I think is like more of an adaptation of the original story, whereas you've got Evangelion anime, which is a light novel, and that is more of a kind of alternate story, alternate universe type of thing, which is quite different. But this, from what I'm aware, is basically just a manga retelling of the series itself. Starting off, we've got the second omnibus, which contains volumes 4, 5, and 6. Like I said, I've already got the first omnibus, which has a volume 1, 2, and 3. But obviously on the front cover here, we've got Rei Ayanami and Unit 0. Now, Rei, in terms of pilots, is my personal favourite. I don't know whether she's my favourite character in the show. It's like it's between Misato and Rei for like favourite character. But in terms of pilots, Rei is my personal favourite. So here we have the front cover. We've got the spine, as you can see. If we get it in a proper light, because it is like a greyish silver colour, there you go, 4, 5, and 6. And then you got stuff on the back and typical kind of thing. So like I said, I think it does basically recount the entire Evangelion series, like slightly different probably, but generally the same type of story. And then next up, again, these are all going to follow a similar pattern. We've got the third omnibus, which has volumes 7, 8, and 9 with Asuka on the front cover. Now, I think this might actually be my favourite looking one. Now, Asuka's certainly not my favourite character, but I think just in terms of this particular omnibus, the colours really pop on it. The red looks really nice. You look at the spine, the red and orange just goes very nicely together. And again, really, really cool. And one thing I am noticing with these is, I've noticed it for a little while actually, but if you kind of look at the top, actually I've got that the wrong way around, should be like that, you can see it says Angel. Now, it is supposed to say Evangelion, it kind of goes across the top. And then I think looking at the last volume, there's a Nerve logo. I think there's something similar on the first volume. So it's kind of one of those ones where you can get them all. You have like some nice wording running across the top. Obviously, depending on how it's printed. If it's not printed very well, it usually doesn't look that good. I don't think it's printed the best, these, but I think they're going to look alright. Next up, again, on the same type of path, we do have Omnibus 4, which has volumes 10, 11, and 12. And of course, we've got Karo here. We've got Lilith, big angel thing behind him, which, yeah, I think this cover, like, in terms of just cool design work, I think is the coolest, but I'm not the biggest fan of the colour scheme. Kind of goes for a grey colour scheme, which, you know, is not bad, but it's just kind of one of my least favourites. But I think the actual kind of aura, if you will, that the cover has is very, very cool. So there we have the fourth omnibus, and then the fifth and final, which only has 2 volumes in. You can see, if we get the light in, 13, 14, and end, so I guess maybe an epilogue. But here we have the fifth omnibus, which has Shinji and then like a frozen Ava Unit 1 in the background, which is actually pretty cool. I quite like the look of this one. So yeah, again, there we go, and typical kind of stuff. So that wraps up all of the Evangelion manga. So I do own it all now because I did get volume 1 for Christmas, and I just decided to pick up all the others. So I own the entirety of that. Definitely going to read through that this year, and then hopefully do a video review on the Evangelion manga, and then hopefully try and pick up Anima, which is the light novel, because I'm very interested in reading that. It seems like more of covert ops kind of missions, where it takes a bit more of an action-y approach and probably less like weird and psychological in terms of what Evangelion usually is. I could be wrong, but it did definitely seem like a more action-oriented type mecha series, which I think, you know, it's not quite like as unique as Evangelion, but I like the idea of doing that, so I'm interested to have a read of it. Next up, though, we do have some Gundam manga. We've got a total of 4 here, and these ones go all together. So, first up, I picked up the Char's Counterattack manga. So this is Char's Counterattack Beltorchika's Children. I believe that's how you pronounce it. So for those that kind of don't know, I'll put this down a second. For those that don't know with Char's Counterattack, basically Yoshiyuki Tomino, of course the godfather of Gundam, the creator of Gundam and all that, he wanted to go like a certain direction with Char's Counterattack. Sunrise, or well, I think it was Sunrise anyway, basically the studio heads and that, they wanted to go a different direction, so I guess they kind of compromised and ended up going the direction that the film eventually became. But the original pitch for the story was basically adapted into a manga. It might have been adapted into kind of like a novel first and then adapted into a manga. But yeah, essentially this manga is like Tomino's original vision for Char's Counterattack. So if we take a look at the front cover here, generally things stay somewhat the same, but you can obviously tell we've got two different mobile suits here. Now this is the High New Gundam. Well, actually it's just called the New Gundam in the series, but to differentiate from the more iconic version of the New Gundam, this is called the High New Gundam, which they do a real grade and probably a high grade version of anyway. And then you got the Nightingale in the back here. Now, I've not seen the film Char's Counterattack, so I could be wrong. I seem to think the Nightingale's in it, but it's not really the main suit of Char. So correct me if I'm wrong there, the Nightingale might not be in it at all, but here it is, of course, on this cover. So that's kind of the main suit that Char pilots in this. And I think the character of Beltorchika is replaced with a different character in Char in the film version. So there's definitely similarities between the two, but there are like enough differences to warrant doing a different like kind of story version of it, if you will. Like, it's not minor changes that they made with the film to original vision. There are some significant changes, so that is why they have gone this direction. And then on the same kind of route, we've got Volume 2, which again looks really cool. We've got the New Gundam, High New Gundam, whatever you want to call it, and then Amuro. Now, I do hope to read these this year, but I do want to watch the film first, and in order to watch the film version, I want to watch Zeta and then Double Zeta, which I think is probably reasonable to expect that I could get through those this year, and then watch Char's Counterattack and then read the manga. So it's a real possibility. But last up, in terms of Char's Counterattack, we do have Volume 3. Now, we do have Volume 3, and this is the last one that is currently available. They have like recently started releasing these. There's quite a lot of Gundam manga that they've started releasing, because there's this, and then there is the Kukura's Island, which I do want to pick up too. But yeah, here we have Volume 3, which I think released earlier this month, and then Volume 4 is not released until like July, so it's still a little bit of a ways off. But we do have Char, we have, I don't know who this character is, but then this is Kes Pariah. I don't know what this suit is in the background. I'm sure you guys can probably tell me. Is this the Alpha Zero? Because it does mention about the Alpha Zero on the back and then shows this image. But yeah, really, really cool. And I do like the covers for these. I think Volume 1 in particular, if I just bring this back, really love the colour on that. The cover and the colour, they look fantastic. And these are going to look really good on the shelf because, like I showed earlier, they all kind of have the same spine, which looks very cool. So we'll toss that off to the side, and then we've got one more to go over, and this is probably, in terms of Gundam manga, probably one of the more iconic ones, or most iconic maybe, and that is Gundam The Origin, which, much like, well, everything here, is a retelling of other stuff. So like I said, the Evangelion manga is a retelling of the series. This is essentially a retelling of the original Universal Century story. Now, if I was to just briefly look through this, I don't know what changes, differences there are. Now, obviously, there's changes in that, but I don't know where it starts exactly. Because, obviously, you have the anime version of The Origin, which is essentially like recounting Char's entire backstory and past and the events leading up to 0079. I think the manga version is 0079. But essentially like a different version of that, if you will. Now, it might add like quite a bit of stuff in that kind of links into past stuff and that, like in terms of Char's past and Amuro's past, but I think in terms of where the manga starts, it starts where the original series starts. I could be wrong, like I said, I haven't read it, but that is my basic understanding of, from what I've seen, what I've heard, that's how the manga differentiates to the anime. So the anime takes the same name, but it is not the same series. There we have it though, that wraps up my Mecha manga haul, if you want to call it that, containing some Gundam stuff and some Evangelion stuff. Before I get out there, please do leave a like on this video and subscribe if you are a fan of mecha anime content and want to see plenty more videos like this in the future. Also, head on down to the comment section below, like I did say earlier. Let me know what mecha related stuff you picked up recently, and if you have any recommendations for mecha related manga, let me know those down in the comment section below. Thank you once again for tuning into Mecha Chat today, and I'll see you guys next time.